And welcome to our final segment, the final one. It's actually not the series finale, but we're not going to see Mad Men for, I don't know, about probably pretty much a year, I don't think. Joining me from, I know, you'll see in my monitor there from Toronto, Canada, Bonnie Laufer Krebs. Hey, Bonnie,
Hi,
how you
everybody.
doing?
I'm good. How are
Bonnie,
you?
I don't know what was going on in the beginning of the. Okay, we started with the show. Do you want to?
Yeah.
I'll take over the first part. We got to talk about what happened. First of all, last season or last show, you and I were so excited because Mad Men had finally gotten good again, or at least back onto par. And we
Right.
started this episode with the moon launch, and we saw Bernie watching the moon. No, was it Bernie? Yeah, he was watching the moon launch, and then they showed us this shot of Ted in a plane flying
Yes.
the clients. And I have to tell you, it was the worst. I mean, in this day of special effects, seeing Godzilla movies and so forth, it was a really bad effect. Do you agree?
Yeah. I agree. And also, like, it's just starting to show the spiral of Ted. Like, he doesn't really care anymore. He had a client, in the plane with him, and he turns off the engine. I mean, seriously.
Oh my God!
How can, yeah. Talk about wanting to lose an account. That's I would say perfect way to do it.
Yeah, and not to mention, even why do that? Even if you're by yourself, why take a chance of dying like that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just, I think, just showing that something's going to be up with Ted, and he just doesn't care anymore,
Yeah.
So, but you're right, the special effects, I mean, that was just really lousy, but I kind of think that was on purpose. I don't think that they really cared
Really?
about that,
I tell you what.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then we get a shot back home, and we get to see Sally, and Buddy comes in, and Sally gives him the bedroom eyes, or at least she gives him the once over. At least that's the way I foresaw. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, please
Right.
don't tell me those two are going to hook up or whatever.
Right,
So,
right.
And then they cut back to a shot in New York where we see the love team. Peggy and Dawn love each other again, and they're all excited, getting ready for the Burger Chef meeting. And then it hits the fan because, well, at least for Dawn, because Dawn
Yes.
gets a breach of contract letter. Was that right? Was that a breach of
That's
contract
correct.
letter?
Yeah, what happened was, remember the episode we saw a few weeks ago where they read him all, like, pretty much read him the riot act. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. Well, so Cutler, played by Harry Hamlin, who is such a jerk, but I have to say, Harry's doing a great job in this role because you really can't stand the guy. He wants Dawn out. He wants Dawn out, and he was looking for any little loophole he could. So, Dawn busted in on that cigarette meeting, and that was, he wasn't allowed to meet with the clients. That was one of the breach. So he went ahead, and everybody, Roger, Cooper everybody was pissed off. But then, of course, there was, as Roger calls her, Benedict Joan. I love that.
What's up with that? So he screams at everybody, and they have an in the hallway partners meeting, and he looks at Joan and he goes, "Did you know about this?" And she goes, "I saw it." And she just gives him this look, and I'm like, why does she hate Dawn? Well, then we do kind of find out a little bit later. I'm like, thank God they mentioned this, but because of Dawn and the company not going public, Joan was out $1 million. So that's why Joan
$1 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we went to a commercial, and then when we cut back, Dawn calls Megan in L.A., and it's like, hey, how's it going, honey, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, I don't know whether I fell asleep or zoned out, but suddenly it's like he said to her, "I'll always take care." I'm like, oh my gosh, they ended the marriage, like, on the phone. Am I correct here?
Well, she said he was confiding in her and saying, "I think I lost my job," and she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," kind of thing. And then he said, "I can always come out there and start something new with, and move to LA." And he says, "Isn't that what you want?" And that's when she was silent, and she just went, "Dawn." And he knew that it was over. He knew. Remember when she came to New York?
Yeah.
He didn't want to stay.
Yeah.
He knew. He was just kind of, I think deep down he knew that it was over, but he was just kind of testing the waters there when he said that to her. And that was it. Yeah, their marriage is over. So bye-bye, Megan. Although my theory still is that I think she's going to get the Sharon Tate she's going to get killed. Don't you think so? I think so.
I have no idea. Well, look at Dawn's first wife. We didn't get to see her at all this season, pretty much.
That's true.
And she was only in like a cameo for this mid-series finale. I guess that's what we should call it. So then we went to another commercial, and we came back like nothing else happened. Everybody was watching the moon landing all over the world.
Yeah.
And then Roger got a phone call, and boom, Bernie's dead. Cooper's dead.
Bert.
What did I say, Bernie?
Bert. Bernie, Bert, it's okay.
Bert's dead, so he goes back to the office, and immediately Cutler's like, "Oh, this is terrible. Well, we're still getting rid of Dawn." So, and I'm like, "Holy cow, this guy!" And meanwhile, Joan's like, "Oh yeah, let's do it."
Yeah, like heartless. Like seriously, all they care about is their money and everything. And Joan, she really bugs me this season because she's just such a like jumping on the bandwagon Joan, like. But if it can get me more money, I'll just go in that direction, Yeah. And it proved it tonight because she just really, that's all she wants is her million or whatever, how much money she can make out of it, So talk about being ruthless. And yeah, the whole thing about with Bert dying, I have to say, for me, like I've always been a huge Robert Morse fan. I remember seeing him on Broadway in Capote. I mean, that guy is such a talented actor, and I thought, what? There's just wasting him. But the very last scene tonight on the show, true
you're jumping
Robert
the gun.
Morse.
You're jumping the gun on the recap. You're jumping the gun. All right.
I'm not rooting it. I just want to say.
Back. All right. So I was going to say, that's what I want to talk about the most, but we got to get to that first.
I'm not giving it away, but I'm just saying it was nice to see.
We're recapping, Bonnie. We're recapping right now.
I know. I'm sorry. Got excited. Okay, let's
I know you're getting excited. So then we cut back to the moon landing, and then Sally goes out to catch a smoke, and here we're in a little plot twist, she kisses Neil.
Ryan or Buddy
Neil.
or Neil.
I think
Okay.
his name is Neil. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she kisses Neil by the telescope, and then we go to a commercial, and I was like, okay, well that was interesting.
Yeah. It's just like she's such a flirt, she's just such a little flirt. But when you thought that she was going to go for the older boy, right? Because and then she was just messing around with the kid, right? Like because you knew that it was his first kiss ever because he goes, well, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That was cute.
Yeah. Well, now we cut back to the Roger, and he tells Dawn on the phone about Bert leaving, I guess.
Yes.
And he said also, there's nothing we can do. You're going to get thrown out. And then Dawn goes to Peggy's room, and he says, hey, you're going to do the proposal. And then they rehearse it and all, and she's all panicking and everything. And then in a little plot twist here, Roger comes to save the day, sort of, because he has a meeting. Was it Chevy, right, in the diner?
Yes.
The guy was Chevy. And what he does is he sets up, the guy's like, hey, we want the whole team, so-and-so and Dawn. And then he flips it on him and says, I got a better idea. Why don't you buy the agency? And I was like, what's he doing here?
Yeah. Well, he wants to keep the team together, and he doesn't want Cutler because he knows at the end of the day, if he doesn't save the agency and saves the people, as he said, he said to Dawn, he goes, Cutler is going to get everybody axed out, and the only two people that will be left are him and Harry and the computer. And by the way, why is Cutler so hot on Harry? I don't get that.
Yeah,
because everybody else treats Harry
He's
like
got a computer, Bonnie. A computer. It's the future.
Like Harry's just such a doofus as far as I'm concerned,
Right.
But and the whole team knows it. But maybe Cutler just feels like he can, string him along on a leash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then we cut back to the Burger Chef meeting where Dawn starts the meeting off and then passes it to Peggy, and Peggy pulls a Dawn in the meeting, and it's just like it's exactly the what does it say? The master has become the train whatever. He has trained her,
well, he passed the torch.
He passed the torch, and now she is as good as Dawn because Dawn trained her, and and then when we cut back to. They're coming home, and at the apartment, he's met by Roger, who Roger then fills him in on the plan.
Exactly, and and Roger's just grasping, but he wants to stay with Dawn. He knows that Dawn is kind of like the lifeline to the company, always has been, and he wants Cutler out, or even if Cutler agrees or whatever, he just wants his team. He wants He doesn't want to lose everything, right? So
so then we come back from commercial, and they're having the partners meeting where Roger tells everybody that I guess Chevy wants to buy 51% of the company, but like nothing else is going to change, which I really didn't understand that too much. But Ted's in there. Oh, of course you want to keep Dawn. Well, when they figure out how much money everybody's going to make, it's kind of funny because Joan suddenly becomes good. Joan was smiling because she's going to finally make her $1 million plus here, and everybody is extremely happy about that. So even Ted comes around, or not Ted. Oh, Dawn has this really little heart-to-heart in the meeting because Ted's like, I don't want any part of this. Ted, Ted says, I don't want any part of this, and then Dawn pitches him the job, and then suddenly everybody votes, and it looks like it's going to happen. Everybody's real excited, and then
money always talks, right? They're going to buy the company for what, $65 million, so they're all going to walk away with, like as Pete said, he had 10%, so he's going to get $6 million or something crazy amount like that. And back in the day, I mean, that's a lot of money now, but back in in 69, you know how much money $6 million is? I mean, that's insanity, right? So pretty cool.
Well, then we go out, and probably one of my favorite scenes of the show. Peggy tells Dawn, "Hey, we got Burger Chef," and they hug, and I'm like, they are. I mean, it's just truly that cinches it. It's just like they're back, and they can do no wrong together, and that was just awesome. And then the final, Bonnie. So Don goes back to his office. This is the end of the show. I'm like, this is kind of okay. Everything's happy. We're leaving the show, and then Don hears, "Hey," and he hears Bert's voice, and he turns around, and he sees Bert, and I'm like, wait, he's not dead. And then suddenly, of course, shoeless Bert does a dance number, and then it. What was it? The
best things in life are free. He's doing a dance number with the girls in the office around him, doing a little. And it's Dawn, hallucinating, and it's his own little goodbye from Cooper because they had been close all along, and it was just so touching. But as I said before, and I know I couldn't hold off, but Robert Morris is just such a talent. And I always thought for all these years, like, what a waste of this guy's talent. And that was a nice little, setting him off that way.
I will give you that. I mean, but it was just so bizarre. I'm like, what is happening here? And then, of course, we fade out, and there's no more Mad Men for a year. So that was the entire episode recap. Bonnie, tell me, what did you think of the episode? Your personal views.
I was again, here we go. After last week's smile at the end, I thought, oh God, I was a little bored tonight. Although it was kind of nice to see, and it reminded you that how the moon launch kind of enveloped the entire episode, and how it brought you back to a time when event television, there wasn't anybody in the world probably not watching that moon landing, and it brings you back to thinking about how the families would all sit around the TV together and watch all together. And that was a moment in history that, it, as Peggy even said in the episode, changed the world. Like, the world from then on was different after Neil Armstrong set foot on moon, So to me, that kind of just was a theme throughout the entire show, and I like that.
Wow, Bonnie, you're just so good at this. I mean, like, you really wrapped up everything. I'm like, wow, she's so smart. What is my opinion? I'm like, it was okay. The moon landing stuff was kind of cool to see other people, but I, of course, don't think of it like that. But now that you have brought that together, it kind of makes sense on a show like Mad Men that has just amazing writing, and when you look at it from that angle, you are absolutely correct. I agree.
I mean, even Betty, when they had all the guests there, and even Betty had her little son, even though he was probably half asleep watching. But it was just so nice to see all the families gathered, And another sad moment for me too, I think, was when Peggy, how Peggy used to have the little kid that lived in as a tenant. He always came up and watched TV.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I didn't mention that. Yeah.
And when he told her, he said, he's sad because his mom is leaving. They're moving to New York because she got a job, and Peggy comforted him and said, your mom's leaving because he says, my mom won't care. My mom won't miss me. Or what is it? What did he say? My mom doesn't care about me. And Peggy said, Yeah, she does, and that's why she's moving, And then she had to wipe away a tear from her eye.
Yeah, that was a real touching moment because at first she was kind of like, but and then it was a really touching moment. But for some reason I didn't write it down in my notes. So
yeah, it shows that Peggy still has that. Remember, I mean, years ago when she had that baby and gave it away, so she does have that motherly instinct, and maybe it just made her sad for a moment that she's not a mother and that she's devoted her whole life to her career. I don't know. Peggy's really come a long way this season, I think. She's just amazing, Elizabeth Moss.
It actually goes to show you, as it's like everybody's been predicting on the internet, that this is really not Dawn's show. This is a show about Peggy, because Peggy has come from where she's gone to where she's gone, where she's at now. The show has really been about her. And I actually liked the episode. I mean, it wasn't one of my favorites of the entire season so far, but... it was good. I felt good. It had a nice little thing. A little surprised that somebody died. Although we've been talking about somebody needs to die now for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Like, what is your feeling about what do you think is going to come for the last 7 episodes? I think they have left now.
Yeah, it's interesting now because now the organization is bought by another thing, and it's almost like, I mean, honestly, They kind of could have just ended it the entire series with this episode because is there anything open, like holes, or everybody's happy with one another, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you can't leave a show like that everybody being happy. Something's going to happen with Dawn. I don't know. I think Dawn may go back full circle and I don't know. Something with Dawn. There's still something really good yet to come.
At least somebody didn't drive a lawnmower through the office while they were having a partner meeting, and then suddenly it's just like everybody gets plowed over there. So
All right. Well, and I still hold that something's going to happen to Megan in LA too. I really do. So
I think that Megan's storyline's over. I don't think we need to see anything else.
I don't think we need to, but something's going to happen there. I don't know. I just, in my gut, I feel it, but I could be completely wrong here, but I'm not sure. I don't think she's 100% gone yet.
All right, Bonnie, looks like our time is almost up here. We did the broadcast is about to end. I can't wait for the next series because now we're ready. We've got a new set. We've got technology. You'll notice there's no echo.
Yeah, it's all good.
Everything's working great. So we're going to start taking callers. We're actually going to have some guests. We're going to line up some guests the next time we meet for the Mad Men thing. And we're going to have a nice little yin-yang going on here with other Mad Men fans. So
I think it's going to be great for sure. And then we'll start talking about some other shows. There's the new one starting up next week with Lee Pace, who is one of my favorites. We love Lee Pace. So maybe we should give that one a go.
One of the tallest men you'll ever meet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so there's a lot more shows. So we got to sit down, you and I, and start figuring out what we want to talk about because I am addicted to television just like you, and we are going to cover a bunch more shows, and we're going to start doing a bunch more movie reviews as well. So Bonnie,
for sure.
Thank you very much, and I will see you soon.